even in my book, I wrote this part called $100 off days, where my goal is to build my business on my off days, just my off days. Because I was working 5 days a week on my job, 2 days a week on my dream. Every single day, my goal is to go out and sell 4 t-shirts. I'm selling t-shirts for $25. So I'm trying to sell 4 t-shirts. I'm trying to make $100 on each off day. So my boy's like, nah, you got to grind, man. You got to work every single day. I know myself. I'm low-key lazy. I work hard because I'm kind of lazy. Yeah. I want to get to a point where I don't got to do nothing.
You work smart.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's what lazy people say.
Okay. But yeah, my goal is I'm focused on whatever happens throughout the week is extra, but my goal is on my off days, fill it with work. If I can put time into my job, I can put time into my business. So I started hitting these $100 each off day. So I called my boss like, yo, can you only put me on 4 days a week instead of 5? Because I knew if I can make $200 on 2 off days, if I had 3 off days, I can make $300. And that joint started to hit. So long story short, by the time I quit my job, I was like working a day a week. So I like I teach people to transition out of their job. Let's set these small goals and build from there.
So can you talk about that? Because that's important as far as it's all about strategy in life, and it's like you never just want to jump out the window with anything. So can you break that down a little bit, to transition out of your job? I like that idea.
Was like, I'm thinking to myself, like, was there any fear in that? Like, or how did that play on your mind? Like, I'm doing this, I'm out.
I don't know. It wasn't really a fear because it happened so gradually. You know what I mean? It's like with this podcast, you drop 1 episode, then 2, then 3, and it starts to build. So I'm trying to make on my just the 2. My goal is to make $200 a week. If I can't sell 8 t-shirts in 7 days, you know what I mean? Like, so it wasn't like a fear of, oh, I got to go quit my job. That would be scary. I'm just trying to make a couple more dollars to like go to the club and hang out and put something on a bottle. I still want to go buy it myself, but I want to be a person that can chip in. Yeah. So it wasn't really a fear, especially because since I was a kid, I've always been trying. The hard part was sticking when I'm only making $200 a week. Like, or sticking when I'm not really making any money, instead of saying, yo, you know what? I think I'm gonna try real estate because t-shirts don't work. It was just me. So the hard part was just staying in my lane and, just staying one course for a while.
Yeah, it goes back to your, and I looked at your page, the life cycle of a good idea.
Yeah.
This sounds like the life cycle of
for sure. Everybody goes through it too.
You know what I mean? Like, can you break down that process? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have ideas and they make it to the first stage of excitement, but they never make it to the last stage.
Oh, never. So I came across this presentation. I was on tour with ET 2017. And I think like a few hours before I was supposed to turn in my presentation, I was like, yo, I got it. The life cycle of a good idea is excitement. Everybody gets excited about the idea, but then you got to move to evolution, where you got to start evolving the idea, which is not as exciting as when you got the idea and you get to tell everybody and you see the vision. Yo, this goal was to take me out of my job. So excitement, then evolution, then engagement. So after you evolve it, you got to engage people. That gets scary because you got to actually approach people and make a sale
and try to get to buy in.
You got to get people to buy in. Yeah. But then with engagement comes resistance. You'll automatically have those people to say, yo, I don't want to buy it. And then you have to make a decision. And the decision is either get excited about something else or move into expansion. But the trick is taking each stage with you. So if you're excited and you move to evolution, you got to be excited while you're evolving the idea. And some people move from evolution to engagement, but they stop evolving the concept. So once you start to hit resistance, if you're still engaging people and evolving, you're asking people, okay, why aren't you buying this? Because you're still evolving it. You're still trying to get better, meaning you're still engaging.
You're assessing it.
You're assessing it. Yeah. And then you make a decision to just don't get excited about something else, fight through it, take all that data, get re-excited about the same concept, retool it, keep engaging, go through the resistance, and then you expand.
You said something important, and Shadi comes from a sales background, and you come from a sales background. You said sales starts when somebody says no.
Oh, for sure.
In my mind, I'm like, yeah, somebody says no, it's next to the next person. But what's the importance of that? Like, what's the philosophy behind that?
I mean, when you go into a shoe store, obviously somebody comes up to you and they're like, can I help you? And you always say, no, I'm good. Like, we're trained to say no.
Yeah.
The game starts when they say no first. So I was expecting, yo, you want to buy this t-shirt? And they say no. I'm like, all right, man, well, I got to go to the next person. But then I realized that one of my mentors said, yo, make them tell you no twice. So I'm like, yo, would you like to buy this t-shirt? And they say, nah, I'm good. And I'm like, yo, are you sure? Look at this. Like, look at that. Like this would be dope with your shoes. And for some reason, I started converting. Like, people like, oh, all right, yeah, you're right. Let me get it. Right. So now, fast forward, I was able to leave the Cheesecake Factory and jump into the kiosk. I make you tell me no till you walk away. Because, I've converted on the third sale, the third no, the fourth no. And sometimes people will buy because they tired of you asking and they know you're not going to let them go. Look, I got some, all right, cool. Give me that one. Here.
Take it.
Make them tell you no more than once.
Yeah, now the sales we talk about that a few times on the podcast. It's something that most people are extremely afraid of because nobody likes to talk to strangers. Like, we're conditioned as kids not to talk to strangers. That's the first thing they tell you, don't talk to strangers. And that carries over as an adult. And it's like to walk up to somebody, especially to try to ask them to buy a product and to spend money with you, is terrifying for most people. But I always say, like, if you can actually do sales, I recommend anybody that wants to be in business to do at least 1 year of sales.
Oh, yeah.
Selling something. I don't care whether it's life insurance, whether it's knives, whether it's cell phone cases. You got to be able to sell something. Because if you could sell something, it takes a fear away. Yeah. And you'll realize that the worst thing in the world is not a no. Yeah. Right? It's not like people say no, you're still living. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like, you got to develop thick skin to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I got a client, shouts out to my man Sam. He came on our coaching call. Like, I have a call in the mornings. And he said, man, how do I take my business to the next level? And my question was like, yo, how many people do you ask to buy your service? And he said, man, not that many. I said, yo, give me a number. Like, how many people do you actually ask? He said, well, not a whole lot. But bro, how many did you ask yesterday? He said, none. I said, that's the problem. So this is what I want you to do, because he's afraid to ask for the sale. Mm-hmm. I said, or he's afraid to attempt. He's afraid to like get into sales. But what I told him was, I just want you to ask 3 people a day. That's your goal. I don't care whether they buy or not, because the pressure is in their answer. But if you condition your mind to say, yo, my goal is not to make a sale. My goal is to just ask 5 people every day. So I can go to the store and say, yo, I don't want to bother you. My coach make me do this. Would you like to buy this t-shirt? Okay, that's 1. Hey, mom, I know I ain't talked to you in a little while. I never tried to sell you anything, but let me get my number out. And if you can start to get your number out, 3 sales, 5, just make 5 calls. Make your goal the work, not the reward, because the reward is scary, because if you don't get it, you're disappointed. But what you can't control is the work. That's the only thing you can control.
Mm. So is there it's like a fine line between persistence and annoyance? Because I could imagine, like, yo, get this, and it's like, all right, is there a fine line there?
To make a sale, you got to be kind of annoying a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to ask certain people. It's going to be somebody you want to get on the podcast. They say no. Next time you see them, you need to ask them again. It's only our inside. We feel like we're being annoying. Yeah. But sometimes people just forget. And I learned this at the Cheesecake Factory. So dope. People want to eat cheesecake, but they want you to convince them. They want to do it, but the right thing to say is no, because it's high in fat, calories. But they really want me to ask. They really want me to convince. They feel good, strong-willed, because they're saying no because they're on a diet.
Yeah, we got this new one.
Oh, for sure. They'll be happy when I convince them.
No, it's the no thing is extremely important, and it's important for people to understand not to take things personal. Yeah. And I just living in New York, I was on the subway years ago, and I just did like an observation. It's like these guys handing out like free newspaper. They're free to anybody that's like coming through the turnstile, and every single person was like, no, I'm good. They was just, and I'm thinking to myself, like, it's free. It's a free newspaper. Right. Why not take it? But it's like they're just conditioned that he's trying to sell me. He's not even trying to sell. He's giving it away. Yeah. And it's like, no, it's like the same thing. It's like a pretty girl. Like, you might want to dance with a pretty girl, and before you even, she's like, no. But it's like, you didn't even look at me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. No. But she's just used. Yeah. She's conditioned to say no. Yeah. So I say that to say, like, people in general are conditioned to say no. So peeling back that layer and saying, like, well, why? It's free. It's a free newspaper. Why come you don't want to take it? Like, let me
just get the no out of the way.
And you're not going to convince everybody, but some people, once you just get that first layer, like if you can get past that first layer, it's like a home run after that.
Yeah, I think how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're attempting to make a sale and they say no, if you're working on a product and you just can't figure it out, like these mics, you just couldn't figure out how to get it working, you'll probably stop at that too and just get another mic, right? But once you develop a certain level of persistence, once you develop that trait, that carries to everything. You know what I mean? Like if you can be persistent in a sales transaction, you could be persistent in getting that person interested enough to date you or trying to close that deal. I believe how you do anything is how you do everything.
So you sound like you're gonna be the host on Bachelor, man.
So what are some steps, like you said, you coach people to become entrepreneurs from their 9 to 5. What are some steps? I'm sure there's a lot of people that may listen to this podcast that have 9 to 5 jobs and want to become entrepreneurs. Like, what are some practical steps that people can take?
I think the first step is just set a goal. And I don't care what the goal is. Ideally, if you're new in entrepreneurship, you don't want to set a sales goal or a reward goal. You want to set a work goal. So your work goal might be starting out from 6 to 7 every single day. I'm going to work on this product or this project, whatever it is I'm doing, from 6 to 7. If you got a podcast, from 6 to 7, I'm reaching out to people to be on my, I don't care what they say. Their answer doesn't have anything to do with me, but for me to hit my goal from 6 to 7, because that works on consistency. You get more comfortable reaching out and you're putting a whole bunch of people in your pipeline. This for this particular scenario, I guess, with podcasting, but the first step is to set a consistent goal that you can hit, because you can't control if somebody buys or not. You know what I mean? So I think the first step is, if you have a business, you set some work goals. And out of those work goals, if you get comfortable in that long enough, then you set some small reward goals. And you just do that consistently. My goal is to sell 1 a day, whatever the product is. Let me just sell 1 a day. And you do that often enough, you'll get tired of that.
Now, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because that's something that I learned early on in business when I first came into business, right? And I learned that you can't, people make the mistake all the time because they say, okay, I want to make $100,000. And in order to do that, I need to make $2,000 a week, right? And it's like, okay, I'm going to make $2,000 a week. I'm not going to work 2 weeks out the year. So if I make $2,000 for 50 weeks, I make $100,000. But that's not really an attainable goal, because it's like, what does it take to make $2,000 a week, right?
And you don't know.
Exactly.
You've never done it.
So it's like, if you're selling a product, right, you might say, okay, I need to sell 10 of these, whatever they are, in order to make $2,000.
Right.
But even saying, all right, I'm going to sell 10 products, that's really not a good goal, because how are you going to sell 10 products? You got to dig deeper to say, okay, in order to sell 10 products, I know I need to speak to 100 people.
Exactly.
So the goal is not to sell 10 products. The goal is to speak to 100 people.
Exactly.
So now you dig it down even deeper, and it's like, okay, well, how do I speak to 100 people? I need to get 25 referrals. I need to go to 5 networking events. I need to cold call 100 people. That's the formula for me to speak. My goal is to, if I speak to 100 people, I'm going to sell 10 products. I'm going to make 2,000. But a lot of times people do it backwards. They say, I'm going to make 2,000. They get frustrated because it's June and they haven't made any money.
Right.
And it's like, they just quit.
Yeah, the question is like, how long did you think it was going to take to be successful?